Greetings, my dear viewer. You're on the channel The Price of Cheating. The channel is for those who appreciate traditional family values and condemn adultery. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. Max Buford drove home on a calm Sunday evening after spending a pleasant afternoon on the golf course with friends. A man deeply rooted in integrity, Max was widely respected for his steadfastness, both in his personal and professional life. For 24 years, he had shared a life with his wife, Bridget, raising two wonderful children, Rachel and Ethan, who were now young adults navigating college life while living on campus nearby. Max's work life reflected the same stability as his home life. For over 2 decades, he had been a valued engineer at his firm, earning admiration from colleagues and a sense of accomplishment in his career. From an outsider's perspective, Max's life appeared picture-perfect: a loving marriage, a thriving family, a fulfilling job, and close-knit friendships. Yet beneath this facade of harmony, his marriage had begun to fracture over the past year. Bridget, once the warm, lively partner he cherished, seemed to have retreated into a shell of detachment and unfamiliarity. The spirited woman Max had married was now distant, her warmth replaced by an unsettling coldness. Their easy conversations and shared laughter had become rare, replaced by strained exchanges that left their relationship feeling empty. The change became more noticeable after their children moved out. Despite Max's persistent efforts to revive their bond, planning spontaneous outings, engaging in heartfelt talks, and surprising her with gestures of affection, her responses felt mechanical, her smiles hollow. That evening, as Max entered the house through the garage, the faint clink of wine glasses coming from the dining room caught his ear. A sense of unease washed over him. He stepped into the room to find Bridget seated at the table, a bottle of wine, 2 glasses, and a single sheet of paper in front of her. "Hey," Max greeted her, his voice steady despite the tension coiling in his chest. Bridget offered a faint smile, but her expression held a gravity that unsettled him. She gestured to the wine and said softly, "We need to talk." Max's stomach sank, but he nodded. "Of course," he replied. "Let me just change real quick." Upstairs, Max swapped his golf attire for something more casual. On instinct, he pulled out his phone, opened the voice recording app, and discreetly started recording before sliding the device into his pocket. A deep sense of foreboding told him this conversation would be significant. When he returned, Bridget had poured him a glass of wine, though hers was already half empty. She seemed composed but visibly tense. Taking a deep breath, she began, her voice calm but heavy with meaning. "Max, I need to say something, and I need you to hear me out completely before you respond. I've been holding on to this for months, and it's something I need to address for my own well-being." Max nodded silently, his heart pounding. Bridget's hands trembled slightly as she spoke. "I owe you an apology. I know I haven't been the wife, the partner, or even the mother I should have been. I've drifted away and I've felt lost. But I think I've finally figured out what I need to do to feel whole again." Max's chest tightened as he listened, his silence urging her to continue. "I've decided to make some changes," she said, glancing at the paper before her. "I've joined a fitness club and signed up for yoga classes. I need to take better care of myself, something I've neglected for too long." Max's brow furrowed, unsure of where this was leading. Bridget pressed on. "I also want to reconnect, with friends, with Rachel and Ethan. I know I've been distant, and I want to fix that. It's important to me, and I know it matters to you too." Her words hung in the air, but Max could sense there was more. Bridget's voice grew quieter, tinged with vulnerability. "And this isn't just about my health or the kids. It's about us, about our marriage. I know you've tried so hard to bring us closer again, and I'm grateful. But the truth is, I haven't been able to meet you halfway." Max felt the knot in his stomach tighten as Bridget's tone turned even more uncertain. "I want to be a better wife. I want to feel that spark again, to fall in love with you all over. But to get there, I need to explore emotions and desires I've buried for so long." A chill ran through Max as the weight of her words began to sink in. Bridget hesitated, her hands shaking as she reached for her glass. To understand myself fully, I've decided I need to see other men. This isn't because I don't love you, I do. But I need to rediscover who I am as a person and as a woman to figure out what I truly want for us. The words hit Max like a punch to the gut. He stared at her, struggling to comprehend what she had just said. Bridget's voice softened, but carried an urgency as she tried to explain. I know this is painful, and I know you're angry, but I'm asking for your trust. I need this for myself, for you, and for the future of our marriage. Max remained frozen, the weight of her declaration pressing down on him. Finally, he stood, his movements stiff and mechanical. I need time to process this, he said flatly, his voice devoid of emotion. I'm going to head out. We can talk tomorrow. Max, please, Bridget implored, her voice breaking as tears welled in her eyes. I love you, I do. Without responding, Max turned and left the room. In the garage, he climbed into his car and slammed the door shut. The moment he was alone, his restrained emotions erupted. He pounded the steering wheel in a fury, his voice a roar of frustration and disbelief. Seeing other men? To save our marriage? What kind of insanity is this? Max muttered a low growl of frustration, his chest tightening as emotions churned within him. Without a clear destination in mind, he drove aimlessly through the quiet streets until his car came to a stop outside a 24-hour diner. Seeking solace in something familiar, he ordered a coffee and a burger, hoping the routine would ground him. Under the harsh fluorescent lighting, he tried to calm his erratic breathing, his hands trembling as he replayed Bridget's startling confession. Each word, every pause echoed in his mind, deepening his anger and sharpening the sting of betrayal. His children. They were the only ones who could help him make sense of this chaos. He pulled out his phone and dialed his daughter, Rachel. Hey, Dad! Rachel's warm, cheerful voice gave him a momentary reprieve. Hi, sweetheart. I need to talk to you and Ethan. Can we all get on a call? His voice wavered despite his effort to sound composed. Rachel laughed lightly. Dad, it's called a conference call, not a threesome. You've got to keep up with the lingo. Max managed a weak chuckle. All right, fine, just patch Ethan in. She hollered for her brother. Ethan, Dad's on the line, get over here. Max could hear her grumble about Ethan lounging on her couch and raiding her snacks. Soon, Ethan joined the call, his voice relaxed and nonchalant. What's up, Dad? Max hesitated, then spoke. This isn't just a casual chat, kids. I need to talk to you about something serious. Rachel's tone shifted instantly. You're scaring me. Is everything okay? Max tried to reassure her. It's not an emergency, but it's important. Can I come over? I need to see you both. Of course, Dad, Rachel replied, her voice filled with concern. We'll be here. Max felt a surge of relief. Thank you. I'll head over now. The drive to their apartment gave Max a moment to sort through his chaotic thoughts, though the weight of what he was about to reveal still loomed heavy. When Rachel and Ethan opened the door, their expressions mirrored the worry in his heart. What's going on, Dad? Rachel asked, wrapping her arms around him in a reassuring hug. Max took a deep breath. I need to show you something. It's about your mom. His voice faltered as he pulled out his phone. They sat together on the couch, and Max played the recording. He watched their faces shift from confusion to disbelief, and finally, to anger. Rachel broke the silence first, her voice brimming with outrage. She thinks dating other men will fix your marriage? Is she serious? She's been treating you terribly for months, and now this? She stood abruptly, pacing as her hands gestured wildly. This is insane, completely unacceptable. Ethan, more subdued but just as intense, leaned forward. What do you want to do, Dad? He asked quietly. Max's voice cracked. I don't know. I feel like everything is crumbling, but you two are the only people I could turn to. I need your help. Ethan's response was steady and firm. We've got you, Dad. Rachel stopped pacing, her determination evident. We're with you, whatever you need. Their unwavering support bolstered Max's resolve. When he left their apartment, he felt a newfound strength. The path ahead was daunting, but he wasn't alone. Bridget had made her decision, and now it was his turn to make his. In the days that followed, Max moved carefully, maintaining the illusion of normalcy while secretly meeting with his lawyer, Margaret, to prepare for what lay ahead. On Wednesday morning, while Bridget was in the shower, Max seized his chance. He grabbed her phone from the nightstand, entered her passcode, and scrolled through her messages. It didn't take long to find damning evidence, a thread of explicit messages with someone saved as Lily. But Lily wasn't a woman. It was Vincent, a co-worker. The texts detailed previous encounters at a motel and plans for future ones. Max photographed everything, capturing the incriminating details: texts, flirtatious comments, and references to private photos and videos stored in her email. Placing the phone back exactly as he found it, Max left the house before Bridget emerged from the shower. That afternoon, he met with Margaret and handed over the evidence. She reviewed the material and nodded grimly. "This is sufficient to file for divorce on the grounds of adultery," she said. "It gives you a strong position for the settlement, especially if your children are willing to testify." Max's gaze was steely. Good. She needs to understand the consequences of her actions. Margaret leaned forward, her expression serious. "Be ready. This won't be easy." Max nodded, his determination unwavering. "I'm ready. She's not going to take me down without a fight." Though the betrayal had left him deeply wounded, it also forged a new strength in him, a resolve to protect what mattered most and to reclaim his life on his own terms. Max was determined that she fully comprehend the magnitude of the devastation she had brought upon their family. Margaret regarded him with a firm, resolute gaze. "We'll prepare the papers," she said. "I suggest serving her at a moment of maximum impact." Max paused, weighing his options carefully. "She has plans with Vincent on Friday. She thinks I'm oblivious," he finally stated. "I want her served then, publicly, when she's at her most self-assured." Margaret's lips twitched in a small, approving smile. "Consider it done." When Friday arrived, the plan was set in motion. Max cleared his schedule, dedicating the entire day to the task ahead. With the help of Rachel and Ethan, they methodically packed up every trace of Bridget's belongings and transported them to a storage unit near her parents' home. They worked with focused efficiency, ensuring no sign of Bridget remained in their house. Rachel, her movements driven by anger, attacked the task with unrelenting determination. "This is exactly what she deserves," Rachel muttered through clenched teeth as she carried yet another box. Max nodded silently, his expression stoic but burdened. Though painful, he knew it was a necessary step. By evening, Margaret confirmed that the process server was ready and in place. Rachel insisted on being there to witness the confrontation. She wanted to see her mother's duplicity exposed. Max chose to remain at home, his emotions settling into an unsettling calm. He understood there was no turning back. This was a line that had to be drawn, for the sake of himself and his children. At the restaurant, Bridget sat across from Vincent, exuding confidence. Her vibrant red dress hugged her figure perfectly, her hair was immaculately styled, and her eyes sparkled with excitement. For the first time in years, she felt alive, relishing the thrill of secrecy and the promise of a new chapter. But her moment of exhilaration was fleeting. Rachel appeared at the table without warning. "Mom," she said, her voice cold and cutting, her expression a mix of anger and hurt. Bridget froze, the confidence draining from her face. "Rachel, what are you doing here?" she asked, her voice faltering. Ignoring Vincent entirely, Rachel fixed her mother with a piercing stare. "How could you do this to Dad? To us?" Bridget's face flushed as panic began to surface. "Rachel, not here. This isn't the time or place," she pleaded, her voice desperate. But Rachel pressed on, her words growing louder, drawing the attention of nearby diners. "You're here cheating on Dad with this man after everything he's done for you. Do you think this is okay?" Rachel's voice sliced through the air. Bridget turned pale, her composure unraveling, while Vincent shifted uncomfortably, glancing toward the exit. Before Bridget could respond, a suited man approached the table. "Mrs. Bridget Buford?" he asked, his voice measured and authoritative. Bridget looked up, dread spreading across her face. "Yes, that's me," she answered hesitantly. He handed her a thick envelope. "You've been served," he declared. A hush fell over the restaurant as diners watched the scene unfold. Bridget's hands trembled as she took the envelope, her face devoid of color. Rachel's expression was stony, her disgust unmistakable. "You did this to yourself," Rachel said coldly before turning and walking away without looking back. Bridget, humiliated and abandoned, felt every gaze in the room burning into her. Vincent muttered an excuse and hurriedly left, leaving her to face the consequences alone. When Bridget returned home later that night, her nightmare worsened. Her key no longer worked, the locks having been changed. She pounded on the door, her cries echoing in the dark. Finally, she called Max, her voice trembling with desperation. "Max, what's going on? My key doesn't work. Please let me in," she begged. His voice, calm but devoid of warmth, came through the line. "I warned you, Bridget. I told you there would be consequences, and you didn't listen. There's a letter in the envelope you were served. It explains everything." With that, he hung up, leaving her sobbing on the doorstep. Tearing open the envelope, Bridget's hands shook as she read the letter inside. The words hit her like a hammer. "Bridget, I will not stay in a marriage where you betray me. You've made your choices, and now I'm making mine." Enclosed are divorce papers citing adultery, with evidence provided to support the claim. "I am pursuing an uneven division of our assets in my favor. Your belongings have been moved to a storage unit. The key and address are included. The children are aware of your actions and have chosen to stand with me. Do not contact me directly. Any communication must go through my lawyer. You've made your bed. Now lie in it." Max Bridget collapsed to the ground, her tears blurring the harsh finality of the words. She had never imagined Max capable of such decisive action. She had underestimated him, and now she faced the fallout of her choices. Seeking solace, she called Rachel and Ethan, but neither answered. Her family had turned away, and there was no one left to comfort her. In the weeks that followed, Max finalized the divorce. With no leverage to fight, Bridget signed the papers. She moved into a small, sparsely furnished apartment, her once stable world in ruins. Vincent disappeared, unwilling to deal with the scandal. Videos of her public humiliations circulated online, tarnishing her professional reputation. Her colleagues whispered behind her back, and her career hung by a thread. Meanwhile, Max found solace in rebuilding his life with Rachel and Ethan. Together, they forged a new path, leaning on each other for strength. Slowly, the pain of betrayal gave way to resilience as they rediscovered the bonds that truly mattered. Bridget, who had chased excitement and freedom, now faced the bitter reality of her choices. Alone in her bare apartment, she grappled with the crushing weight of her actions. Her selfishness had cost her everything: her husband, her children, her home, and she had no one to blame but herself. This concludes the story. If you like it, then put your powerful like and subscribe to the channel.